Our CNN team in Washington captured these photos, and you see the heavy presence here of National Guard members, D.C. police officers. They're all patrolling the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. It's a show of force that comes as the president and the Justice Department allege that vandals tampered with the renovation project that is underway there. And the president now says those repairs will not be done in time for America's 250th birthday celebration.
The reflecting pool is so beautiful. They tried to destroy it. They cut it up with a box knife and tried to destroy it. And it's in great shape now. They're terrible. They're vandals. They've caught 6 of them, I guess, maybe more. They've got others in line to be caught. But we just inspected it. We'll fix it right after the 4th of July.
While there have been several vandalism arrests, we have yet to see evidence of a massive gash that the president claims is the reason that blue material that they had just added is already peeling off. On this tonight, my source was the Secretary of Interior under President Obama and also served as a senator from Colorado, Salazar. His new book, Borderlands, My Fight for an Inclusive America, is out July 28th, and I highly recommend it. I want to ask you about the book, but just given your experience as Secretary of the Interior, which is who's dealing with this right now, Doug Burgum, and your own effort to fix the reflecting pool when President Obama was in office and the millions that y'all spent, what do you make of what's happening right now?
You know, Kaitlan, the National Mall is America's front yard. And as Secretary of Interior, you're the custodian of America's heritage. And part of what President Obama and I decided to do was to be part of an inclusive America and telling the story of all of America on the mall. So the Martin Luther King National Memorial, the Belle Sumont House that celebrates the women's suffrage movement, all that was part of telling America's story. But this administration is engaged in is the opposite of that. What they are doing is engaging in this project of erasure, trying to erase our history and our heritage as Americans, and they're trying to do it right in the front yard. The reflecting pool is part of that. The east wing of the White House is another part of it. The renaming of the Institute of Peace, what happened with the Kennedy Center. All that is a very deliberate, concerted effort to erase the real story of America, and it's wrong.
Well, and the president points to past efforts to fix the reflecting pool. He says under Biden, I don't think they really tried to do it under Biden. Obviously, under President Obama, you certainly did. Is it fixable, or is it just as it is because it's a pool in Washington? I mean, what's your sense of the problem here?
Well, it's fixable, but it requires a tremendous amount of investment and work. When I came into Interior, the National Mall was essentially an abandoned place in so many ways. I wrote the executive order on the National Mall, the secretarial order, on how it gets managed. So preserving the grasses for baseball, making sure that there are areas for heavy equipment and the like. That's the planning of what we ought to be doing with the National Mall, which is our front yard for the United States of America. But yet, what's happening now is the exact opposite of that.
You know, and obviously you talk about in the book what you describe as Trump's erasure. You also talk about your own party and what you think that they have gotten wrong, what you think that they can do going forward in 2028. You talk about the border, obviously, under President Biden and what that looked like. What do you think is the biggest lesson that Democrats need to learn?
Democrats, my party, and I'm a proud Democrat, we have to find a new way forward. We have to be bold. We have to do things that we haven't done in the past. And so we need the right kind of leadership that's going to secure our country, that's going to save our planet, and that's going to end the wars that we're seeing all around the world and not start those wars. So in each one of those, it's a major agenda, but we have to be bold in what we do. We need to secure our country by securing, yes, our borders, by establishing a new system of migration, by developing the kinds of relationships with law enforcement and supporting our police that's appropriate, that protects civil rights, but also brings our law enforcement along with respect to training and community policing. Those are the kinds of things that we have to do. Saving our planet, Kaitlan, if you think about how warm our world is today, we are on a fever in this world, and the work that we have done globally, what I try to do in Mexico and the United States and Canada, is about saving our planet. It's an existential issue for all of us. We need to be bold about that, and we need to create unity in tackling those kinds of
Well,
challenges.
and I mean, in the opening of your book, you talk about the last administration in terms of, you talk about being bold and what Democrats need to do. You said that even if Vice President Harris had beaten President Trump, that you intended to resign. You talked about all of the things that were swirling in your mind. You said, opportunities squandered through inaction, mistrust, political malpractice. What is the one thing you think the Democrats need to do differently going forward?
So the new American alliance really needs to be formed, and we need to get the United States of America, and that means Republicans, rural Americans, people from throughout the country, to understand that we're in this together with the rest of the Americas. We can't solve our problems, whether it's renewable energy and a new energy frontier, or it's conservation, or whatever we're doing, without having the United States, Canada, and Mexico working together. So I went to Mexico, Kaitlan, because I went to transform the relationship and to create durable legal frameworks around this. Fortunately, we weren't able to do it because there wasn't a political will or courage in Washington, D.C. But we need to have that courage, and I hope it comes in 2026, and I hope we see it in our presidential candidates in 2028.
We shall see. Ken Salazar, thank you for joining us. The book is Borderlands, My Fight for an Inclusive America. As a reminder, it is out July 28th. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate your time.